in order to demonstrate the basics of feature flagging and how LaunchDarkly allows you to control the experience of your application without needing necessarily to interact with the code base once all the hooks are in place. Some key aspects in order to get to this point is that you need to create an account. You need to have a user key associated with the account, which is what you'll leverage in your code. And basically all you need to do is start creating different flags which are bound to separate rules or targets. This can get pretty interesting and complicated. There's variations for the different rules under which the flag would apply, different settings for it in terms of the name. And the overarching goal is that the segments under which the flag applies are targeted specifically to a given customer. That can be done in many different ways, but that in itself it's a whole separate topic. What I want to showcase is how do we integrate feature flags within React and how those end up controlling the code base. So what I have over here is an application I created with Create React App, which is the same bootstrap we'd leverage in any type of application we built. Some of the key parts of it is that I'm using a library here called LD React, LaunchDarkly React, which will allow me to have access to all the feature flags within my code. This is important because without this library, you won't be able to swap components or experiences based on the feature flag. So once you've set it up and you're passing over your client-side ID, then you'll be able to create an experience that varies based on the feature flag. So here, for example, in this component, and just to show you what this looks like, it's just a simple div with a message that says flag on. What I have is, again, I'm importing the React library, and I have access now within my props of this component and the flags property in props to all my different feature flags. So for instance, the feature flag title React that I'm highlighting here is exactly the same feature flag that I'm referencing here, title React. If you see, it's set to on, which is why this says flag on. And here in my code base, I'm basically saying this is an if statement. If title React is true or set to on, please show the message flag on. If it's set to false, show the message flag off. This is not necessarily the most elegant way of doing it. You can achieve it more elegantly with higher components or other ways in which you can reduce the number of if else conditions throughout your code base. But for the purpose of this exercise, this demonstrates how it all blends together. So right now my app is rendering flag on, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go into LaunchDarkly, and I'm going to switch the flag to off. Gives me a little notification, which is cool. I can leave a comment. And now I'm going to turn it off, and what I want you to notice is that without refreshing or doing anything at all, my application now says flag off. So effectively, LaunchDarkly controls in real time the experiences my users are going through with a simple toggle of a flag. If this flag was set to target a certain segment or a certain geography, it would have applied only to that group, and I can control it on and off anytime I want without having to do any code changes, because all that's needed within the code base has already been added, which is basically the library to receive the flags, the conditional statement to swap one component for another, and then wrapping it around with flags. I hope this serves the purpose of showcasing how simple it is to work with LaunchDarkly, and effectively this gives us full control of the flags within our front-end code base. If we have a scenario where we need to hit separate APIs or load separate images or content, you can do all that from within the code base, right? You can have your if statement point to one URL or another, given if the flag is true or false, to hit a different API. You can vary the payload of an API from the front end as well, given that flag. And this basically gives non-developers a lot of power to control features and measure the success of them throughout the lifecycle. That's it.